Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here. My name is Brooke Rollins. I serve President Trump as his Secretary of Agriculture. So it's an honor to be here with my friend, Ambassador Waltz, and you'll also get to hear from our Undersecretary for Trade, Luke Lindberg. I want to thank you, Ambassador Waltz, and the entire team. Obviously, our focus is on putting America first, with President Trump leading the way. And we had a great discussion just concluded downstairs with a lot of our wonderful people, as Ambassador Waltz outlined. USDA has a proven track record, our U.S. Department of Agriculture, of administering international food aid programs. Following the closure of USAID, the Trump administration is once again putting farmers first and reorienting our international assistance programs to move surplus commodities to countries in need, aligned with the priorities of the United States. These food assistance programs, combined with trade capacity building efforts, support long-term economic development and help countries transition from food and recipients to commercial buyers. At the same time, these programs support our great American farmers. In September, USDA announced and purchased 417,000 metric tons of commodities from American farmers in support of these programs. This is equivalent to over 16 million bushels of our row crops. This is a win-win for the global market and, most importantly, for U.S. farmers and producers. We are restoring integrity to these important programs so we can once again support our farmers and successfully feed people all over the world. The U.S. government has several programs used to export American-grown commodities to aligned countries in need. One is Food for Peace, previously housed under the wasteful and abuse-ridden USAID. Through Food for Peace, American Ag has fed more than 4 billion people in over 150 countries. Food for Peace makes $2 billion worth of annual commodity purchases, equivalent to more than 1 million metric tons of American-grown food to reach millions suffering from hunger around the world. So as we begin Thanksgiving week here in America, at USDA, we are grateful for the abundant crop our hardworking American farmers produce day in and day out to feed America and the world. So thankful to the Trump administration and to Ambassador Waltz for working to restore integrity and respect for our taxpayer dollars here in our international assistance programs. Thank you all. Undersecretary Luke Lindberg.
Yeah, thank you, Secretary Rollins and Ambassador Waltz. It's great to be here with you all, making sure that we're ensuring targeted and accountable foreign assistance through the UN programs we work with each and every day. Our McGovern-Dole program is historically one of the ways that the U.S. Department of Agriculture has leveraged surplus American commodities to support targeted American interests around the world. Today, we had a robust discussion ensuring that the countries that are recipients of those funds are, in fact, graduating and getting better and coming off of foreign aid down the road. Our intent is that these programs are not eternal, right? They happen and then they end and the countries graduate off and are in a better place. And so ensuring that we're receiving those graduation rates and making sure that those continue forward. Take Gaza as another example of an area we're all intimately involved in right now. Regionally, that region has historically purchased quite a bit of wheat and other products from adversaries of ours around the world. And we're making sure that through the generosity of the American taxpayer, we are taking opportunities to realign supply chains and those investment dollars to promote American commodities and restructure the way in which our commodities get into that region and then become part of the long-term trade agenda and displacing some of those adversarial countries' involvement in the region. For us, it takes the investment of all of these different organizations, from IFAD, which is the Fund for Agricultural Development, maybe investing in milling operations, to the World Food Program, taking U.S. in-kind commodities and making sure they get delivered appropriately and on time. And again, building an infrastructure that develops the right taste buds for American commodities that will then help us promote trade down the road and make sure that our folks, our farmers back here, have access to those countries and refined, developed markets that want and demand our products. And so we're incredibly grateful for the ambassador and his team for allowing us to participate in this discussion, but also helping promote that America First agenda that puts our farmers and ranchers in the driver's seat. Thank you all very much.
Great job.
Thank you very much, Secretary, Ambassador, and Undersecretary. On behalf of the Foreign Press Center, at this point, we'd love to open it up for questions from the journalists in the room and also that are joining us online. When I call on you, can you please state your name, the outlet you work for, and possibly the country if it's not clear from the name from your outlet. We'll start with in-person, and so in-person, who would like to go first with a question? Please, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Shiva from Japan Agriculture News. Would you like to think about to have a more tight relationship with Japan and the U.S.? Do you have any idea or plan to have a joint task to bringing the food for this program?
I'll let you answer first after, but just very quickly, I think our president has been very encouraged and committed to the relationship with Japan. The deal that was struck was a really important deal, and there were lots of components to it between Japan and the U.S., but from an agriculture perspective, it was unprecedented in terms of some of the product will now be moving over to Japan as soon as that deal moves into effectuation phase. So I know from my perspective, and was planning a trip to Japan that got canceled. We were leaving the day the government shut down, but I will get back to Japan very soon. It is a priority for us.
Yes, so certainly the Secretary hit the right point, which is that the President is very engaged in the U.S.-Japanese trade relationship. I was in Japan last month, met with a number of buyers. There's a lot of excitement about the prospect, I think. Japan is also a highly valuable market for us. It's our fourth largest agricultural export market around the world, so on a bilateral basis, it's important. But when it comes to these food assistance efforts, I was also at the World Food Program board meetings this week. Japan is playing an increasingly important role at organizations like the World Food Program, which to me signals the right types of investment and alignment where we can work together. So very optimistic and excited about working with Japan.
Thank you so much. I have 3 more questions.
We'll come back if we have time.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We're going to jump online real quick. We're going to go to Alex from Kiev Post.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for doing this. Very quick question to Madam Secretary, and then very quick one to Undersecretary as well. Madam Secretary, given the legislative push to move the Food for Peace program fully under the USDA, can you please help us understand how would the department's commonly focused expertise specifically improve the efficiency and speed of emergency food aid delivery to conflict zones, compared to the State Department, formerly USAID? Management. And to Undersecretary, just following up on what you said in your opening statement, Ukraine is a major global food producer. What is the USDA's long-term strategy through Food for Peace or related programs to help stabilize and rebuild Ukraine's damaged agricultural infrastructure and export capacity, which is critical for global food security? Thanks so much.
Thank you, Alex. I'll just talk very briefly. We are very encouraged and excited to have Food for Peace over at USDA. I think we're going to be able to focus very successfully and efficiently with that program. I'll let Undersecretary Lindberg talk a little bit more about that because he's been very, very involved in those discussions and that decision. But Secretary Rubio and I are aligned and excited about the opportunity to continue to put our American farmers at the center of the program, but also moving those products out to feed the world.
Yes, so USDA has historically always played a role in the Food for Peace program. The funding dollars actually come from the agriculture jurisdictions on the Hill and have moved to USDA, and then we've implemented the program with USAID. But there has always been a role for USDA in those conversations, and prioritizing American commodities has been an important part of the Trump administration's America First agenda since the beginning. So anything that we will continue to play a role in that Food for Peace program. We will continue to effectuate those exact same items going forward. With respect to Ukraine, I might have the ambassador weigh in here as well. Look, the role that we play at USDA is very much, again, making sure that our commodities and our exporters have a chance to be a part of these important programs. As we work with countries of strategic interest, we take all of those various components into consideration. Certainly, we recognize the long-term stability of Ukraine is important, and we also want Ukrainian farmers to be successful. So it's not a us versus them. It's really, from our vantage point, our responsibility to the president and to our American farmers is to take care of them first and foremost. But that doesn't put us at a disagreement or an odds at all with the Ukrainian farmer as well.
I would just add, and not to get ahead in any way of the ongoing negotiations that are literally happening as we speak with the President Trump's determination to bring a just and lasting end to this to the horrible war that's going on, is that Ukraine obviously has to be economically viable. And it has to be sovereign. And a key part of that sovereignty and economic viability is to be able to export its crops, as Ukraine traditionally has done. That's through freedom of navigation in the Black Sea. That's having a viable port in Odessa. And that's being able to use the Dnieper River that, to Ukraine, some people have equated it kind of to the Mississippi River here in the United States as a key avenue for moving agriculture and moving crops. So all of those components are absolutely factoring in to President Trump's peace initiative and the ongoing negotiations that Special Envoy Witkoff, Secretary of State Rubio, and the team are pursuing right now as we speak.
We'll take a question back in the room.
Yes, I'm Emmanuel Sibia, Swedish journalist from Business Daily. I have a question about this current administration has been shifting from aid to trade. And we saw, especially in the U.S.-Africa relations this summer, during the summit where I think it was $2.5 billion deals that were announced. If you could elaborate a bit on what that means for the agriculture sector as well, if we'll see more deals in that field as well later on.
Yeah, the president has been obviously very focused on trade and realigning, frankly, the entire world's trade order, believing, and of course as his team, we certainly support this, that for too long, America had been really at the behest of the tariff and trade regimes of other countries, rather than putting our products and our farmers and our taxpayers first. On Liberation Day, he called it, which was early February this year, was when the announcements, and then now you begin to see, though, as a lot of the reciprocal tariffs have been rolled back, that we're moving back into more of a normalized trade relationships as so many of those deals have been struck. I think it's worth noting that under the last administration, under the Biden administration, not one new trade deal in 4 years. Just in the last 10 months, we have dozens upon dozens. So yes, so moving into more of the trade realm is important. I'll let Luke kind of underscore the aid side of that too, because they're not mutually exclusive, but we are putting renewed focus on moving out American products and commodities as part of the aid programs around the world.
Yeah, the U.S. farmer exports $170 billion of product around the world every year. It's a critical component, critical marketplace for our farmers who continue to produce more with less. So trade is first and foremost vital to our farmers, and we recognize that. The president, as the secretary mentioned, has done an incredible job of getting new market access. When I was being confirmed for this capacity, the number one thing I heard from our farmers and ranchers was, we need market access. And today, I stand saying firmly that the president has delivered and will continue to deliver on exciting new market access opportunities around the world. That does not preclude the aid conversation as being an important part of our overall agenda. We had great discussions this morning. The U.S. is investing taxpayer dollars. We should be getting something back for those investments, and making sure that the aid we're producing or we're investing in has an America First agenda behind it. To me, is the same thing I would expect from any other country who chooses to invest charitable dollars into organizations around the world. I would expect that they would want to, as best as possible, represent their constituencies back at home. So for us to do that, I don't think is anything different. I think it's a good thing, and certainly it helps also continue to build the coalition of support we need to make sure that these programs continue into the future and continue to play that important role of providing the aid when necessary and when targeted.
I think if I could just add, there's an important reform agenda to this as well. The United States, from a humanitarian standpoint, continues to be the most generous nation in the world, but we can have tough and honest debates about whether flowing that humanitarian assistance through some of these organizations is the most efficient way to do so, and that's part of the conversation that we're having here at the UN. They have a process and program called the Humanitarian Reset, where you're looking to take a number of these international agencies and use common logistics, common systems, kind of common back office to make more of each dollar actually get to the recipient. And then to the Undersecretary and the Secretary's point, how do we actually move a number of these countries off of the aid dependency that is created, often is well intended, but we find decades later creates a culture of dependency that doesn't actually help these countries grow and move to kind of the next phase. So if they're entering into agricultural and economic partnerships and relationships with the largest economy and the largest market in the world, that can be nothing but ultimate goodness for these countries that we're trying to help as the president's peace agenda and his foreign policy unfolds.
If I might just connect two topics we've talked about a little bit, Japan being an important ally of ours and purchaser of American commodities, actually started as a country that was on the Food for Peace program following World War II. And so for us to see that market develop from an aid-dependent market into the fourth largest purchaser of American agricultural products around the world is the storyline we like to see.
Well said.
We're going to go online real quick. Jose Diaz from Reforma, please.
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. This is a question for Secretary Rollins. How soon can we expect the reopening of the Mexican border to cattle imports? Some analysts in Mexico are thinking that because of the pressure on prices in the U.S., the reopening could be imminent.
Well, we have been very clear that we will not open any of our 4 ports, 2 on the Texas border, 1 on the New Mexico border, and 1 on the Arizona border, until we are confident that our partners in Mexico with Seneca, and of course our USDA in America, that we have put every precaution in place. We have been very encouraged by the work in Mexico and by Seneca. We have made tremendous progress over the last 6 months as we work to reopen the ports, but we are not there yet. We have another list of work that needs to happen, that we are in conversations with the Mexican government and my counterpart there, Secretary Julio Bertigay, to ensure that, again, we have every potential cautionary procedure in place to protect the American cattle herd. As we all know, around the world, there's a shortage of cattle, but in America, we're at a 75-year low. So we just have to make sure we're protecting that while ensuring that the good trading relationship can continue. So we don't have a firm date yet, but we are making great progress.
And we'll take a question in the room, sir.
I'm Tuan from Vietnam News Agency. Thank you so much. Thank you, Secretary and Ambassador, for the update.
From which country, I'm sorry?
From Vietnam News Agency.
Okay,
right.
thank you.
So Vietnam is one of the largest agriculture exporter to U.S. However, unfortunately, tariff became the barrier prevents the activity of export and import from both sides in recent months. Does the U.S. have any plan to reduce the import tariff on agriculture from Vietnam in the near future?
I can jump in on that. So as you know, the U.S. and Japan and Vietnam have a framework agreement that they have agreed to, and the president and his team are actively negotiating on a more detailed and fulsome trade agreement. So we're not going to get ahead of our colleagues who are negotiating that right now. I can just tell you, certainly our American farmers are excited about new market access in Vietnam that will rebalance the trade relationship we've had with you all. For too many years, it has been too one-sided. Vietnam importing significantly more into the United States than we've been able to export to Vietnam. So I know the team that's negotiating hard to get that done. we look forward to some opportunities for our farmers to get more product into Vietnam.
Unfortunately, that's going to be the last question we're going to be able to take today. Ambassador Waltz, some of the microphones weren't working in the very beginning. I just want to know if you want to make a closing statement.
Oh, well, thank you. And just again, I can't thank Secretary Rollins for her time, Undersecretary Lindberg for his time, and engaging a number of these food agencies up here, not only here in New York, but that have representatives here from Rome, from Geneva, from Vienna, and from around the world. Look, there's one place in the world where everyone can come and talk, where everyone can work these issues out. That's here in the United Nations. There's absolutely a tremendous need for reform, but there's a lot of goodness that comes out of the work that we do here. And what's so important for us is for the American people to see that not only are what we're doing here is benefiting those around the world from a humanitarian standpoint, from the standpoint of our foreign policy and the president's foreign policy, but also, as the Undersecretary said, is a return on investment for their tax dollars, and there's a real benefit to our growers and to our farmers and agricultural sector. And so today was a chance to kind of bring all of that together and highlight that, but then also speak now to your viewers and to your listeners around the world. As the largest economy in the world, as the largest market in the world, as one of the largest agricultural sectors in the world, there's just a tremendous interconnected aspect to all of it. So thank you again.
Thank you.
For coming and joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much,
nice
everybody.
Nice to see you. Thank you.